I learned a new word today. It's animalier, and what that means is a sculptor of animals. And Cheryl Boglioli, you are that sculptress.
Thank you. I'm working on it.
I was gonna say, so this is a meerkat, which I think I've seen maybe in like a photo somewhere, but never in real life.
You can see them at the zoos. And so that's part of the whole thing about being an animalier.
Animalier.
Yes, is that you actually take the time to study the animal and its characteristics and personality. So today I'm going to show you how to make one of your own very own meerkats.
Cool, let's do it.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with things that you can find around your house. So have you any idea what this is?
It's too small to be a paper towel tube, but it's something like that.
How about maybe aluminum foil? Yeah, because we're actually going to use aluminum foil with this too. So, and I have a little bitty polystyrene head that we're going to use. You can get this. And so this is just going to create a base that we're going to put on here. And you're going to fill your little tube with aluminum foil to make sure that it's really sturdy. Because that's one of the most important things, is to make sure you've got this really good base. And then start wrapping it up with masking tape. So it's quite simple. Just to take some tape and put your little head on.
And I love that this is just so like a casual and easy thing. It isn't about being insanely precise, but it is just about creating something solid.
You have to have a solid base to actually begin starting your creation. And then we're going to use some electrical wire. And you can probably find that in your husband's place. And we're going to cut that out and start creating your shape. Now, for the leg, I have created some here that I'm going to pull around and create this little drumstick. And then I've already created this one.
So if I just look at these two side by side so we can see, it's a piece of wire taped together, covered in aluminum foil, and that is how you get the leg shape.
Yeah, so I just took that and folded it, and then I'm just going to take aluminum foil.
So it's not just covered, it's actually quite dimensional and bulked out, because again, this is a sculpture, or it's sculpture, so it's 3D instead of 2D.
Correct. And you'll just continue to build that to create the shape that we have.
Incredible leg. Now, how do you attach the legs?
So then you're going to attach the legs with masking tape.
So you really are just, it's the same formula kind of over and over and over again. Masking tape, tin foil, a base, wire, whatever it is to create your piece.
It is. And what's going to give them personality is if your meerkat is standing up straight in his little area, you're going to raise this up a little bit higher. If he's kind of squatting down, so you can actually start to give him personality.
So you can actually make a whole like family of meerkats,
exactly,
and not just one, and they could each have a unique personality. Now, this guy looks like he's been to the hospital. He's a little sort of wrapped up, shall we say.
We kind of mummified him a little bit. So we've added his sculpture pieces, we've added the masking tape, we have it all ready. So now we're going to start creating his form and give him his character. So I'm just using some textile medium here, and this is where you get to play.
Yay!
Yay! So we have some fabric, and I just tore strips of fabric right from some muslin or an old t-shirt, and you're going to dip it in here, and then kind of use
the end
do like
and
half
crinkle
of it.
Okay, that's a great tip.
Yep.
And then you sort of crinkle it up in there, and you're saturating it. And again, we're wearing gloves mostly, is just so we don't have to wash our hands because we're lazy.
Exactly. And then you're going to take this and start wrapping your meerkat. So now we're kind of creating his skin, basically.
Now, do you have to fully saturate this fabric, or is it okay if there are some spots that are still
You want
white?
it to be fully saturated, because that's what's going to actually make it harden. And you can, here's a little bit here that's not, and I can just use my thumb to continue to.
Because you already have it on your hand, so it's totally okay.
Yep. So you can wrap some of the tail or the leg. How about you wrap some?
Does it need to be flat? Like if it's sort of textured like this, is that a problem?
You don't want it real lumpy, so you want it a little.
You want to smooth it.
You want to smooth it, but you don't want it super smooth.
You are super nice, trusting artist and teacher, because I don't think I would let somebody who had never done it mess around with my beautiful sculpture.
You can't mess it up. Because if you don't like it, if I didn't like what you were doing, I can
just take it off and fix it.
Smooth it out and keep going. I have play time here.
So once that dries, what do we do next?
All right, so once this is dry, then we're going to take the same textile medium that we're using. We're going to use some clay mix with it, and we're going to mix it up and actually create a clay. And I already have one.
Cool. So you're actually just basically making a thicker version of your base.
Yes. So now you can help with this one too.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna actually take this clay, and here's where you start pressing it
So you're working with a very small piece. You're not working with like a giant chunk.
No, no, because you want to be able to, this is where you're going to start giving it the musculature and creating a little bit more depth. You're going to make sure that that little leg is in there.
So that's a reason that you either want to work from like an actual meerkat that you can see, or some photographs maybe you've taken of one or something.
With the technology that we have today, just look up a good picture and just look at different angles of that same picture, yeah.
Because that's what makes it realistic, so somebody can look at it and see what it is. It's all of that muscle.
Yes, and he's got little areas that you can see if you look at this one here, and little toes and little areas. So you can see how easy it is just to
putting it around and wrapping it around, and this is just going to stick on there. Because I do notice that the little toes, you can define them actually pretty easily, right?
Yes. So once I have the clay in there, then I just use a little knife and just kind of slice into it with a knife. Okay. But this little guy's missing some ears. Okay. So I'm going to take just a little piece of clay, and I can just kind of pinch and form his little ear and give him.
How do you get a matching ear? Like you've done one and you want the other one to be, I assume, somewhat similar, so he's, you know.
I pinch about the same amount, and if you need to add more, you can add more. If you need to pinch some off, you can pinch some off of there too, and just kind of push it in place and shape it and give him a little.
Give him some style. I actually think that ears kind of add personality. Like he seems to me like he has so much more personality, right?
Yes.
Now I see also you added eyeballs.
I did.
You built his snout with a little nostril, and I assume all of that you would obviously want to paint out the head before you did that, but you can just add in all of those details.
Correct. Yes, and with the eyes, you could use the clay again, or you could use a little pin, like a sewing pin, and just kind of poke it in there to create a little beady eyeball.
Well, you know, I was gonna say like even this one, like I can make those little toes with like any tool you have around. So while you continue to work on that one, I'm gonna continue to work on this one, and we're gonna have a family of meerkats in no time at all. So I know that the bottom half of your meerkat is, well, it's a different color. So what did you do to create that?
So once he's been clayed, now I want to give him some fur. So I'm going to use a couple of different colors to do so. And I'm just using straight pigments. And we're using a chocolate brown, a little bit of a yellow ochre, and a white. And I have a little
sneeze
paintbrush.
while those are open.
No, that would probably be a bad idea to do so. And what we're going to do is to create my own paint and glaze by dipping the brush directly into the varnish. Yep, just a plain varnish. And I'm going to dip it directly into my pigments. And then I'm going to just mix them together so that I'm creating my own
That's so
paint.
interesting, and it is a way also to keep the powder from getting everywhere because you're going ahead and you're doing just a little bit of a mixing.
And I'm not making that much. So I can start here.
So you're dry brushing it on, and I can see that means the texture of all of the clay and the wrapping and everything else that's underneath is going to show through because you're using that nice dry brush.
Right. So I'll do the same thing and just continue to add color. So once you have one color on there, then we can go back in and use a second color to start to brighten up.
That's so interesting how you wipe off some of the paint from your brush in order to do that.
That's going to give me that dry brush effect so it doesn't look like I'm just painting it straight on.
So Cheryl, if we look at the finished one, he's adorable, he's full of personality, and he's something that you, an animalier, made.
Yes.
Thank you so much.